Greetings, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Classical Academy Podcast, your friendly guide to the world of classical Christian education. Thank you for joining us. I'm your host, Dr. Mark Phillips. And remember, before we get started here, if you are enjoying our podcast, please subscribe, give us a review, make a comment, spread the word. Remember, we say it every show. Classical Christian education is the educational hope of the Western world. And so we have a question today, and that is, what is a house system? Is it a Christianized Harry Potter school experience? Or is Harry Potter some kind of magical, mythologized concept that is very Christian? Why create and function within the house system at all in a classical Christian school? To help us with these questions is our guest today, Kaeli Collver. Kaeli was a member of the first graduating class here at Trinity Classical Academy, during which time she was actually the first captain for the Cincinnatus House. She has now returned and teaches upper school math here at Trinity, and she is also the Dean of the House System. Kaeli, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. I'm excited to be here.
So glad to have you. So I think, first of all, people have never heard of a house system. Let's just answer a general question. What is a house system?
So it's funny. I actually, when people ask me what is the house system at Trinity that have no knowledge of it, no knowledge of classical education, nothing, I do actually compare it to Harry Potter. That's always my first thing.
Indeed.
Because that's their knowledge is they've read the books, or at least seen the movies. So
Sure.
I usually do quickly give them the Harry Potter, they have the houses, we do that. But then I go into this is what it really is and how it's different. So that's usually where I start.
Great.
So,
Fabulous.
but going from Harry Potter and going beyond that, so the house system actually originates from British boarding schools back in the 1700s. Their goal was to provide support, foster relationships and team spirit, and give all the students a sense of belonging, which is amazing because they're away from home and they're living at school. So it's a
Sure.
great way to just bring everybody together.
You bet.
How we've adapted it is, and a lot of times now in schools nowadays, is for us at Trinity, we have our freshmen through seniors. We split them up amongst the 4 houses, and so they all get to foster those relationships, build the team spirit within their house, and they get to build the relationships from the freshmen with the seniors that you
Right.
don't normally see. So it just brings a better, some smaller communities within our larger Trinity community.
Right.
And then we compete throughout the year because everybody loves a healthy competition.
Sure, of course, of course. So it's great because it gets the upperclassmen with the lower classmen. They get a little bit of mentorship there, a little ownership. Helps the underclassmen feel a little less nervous as they're coming into the rhetoric
Yes.
level. Very good. So how did it get started here at Trinity?
So it was actually my policy paper as a junior.
Wow.
So junior year, we write policy papers, and I pursued the house system.
And so what is a policy paper for those who don't know?
A policy paper is, I don't remember how long it has to be. It's been a long time.
Sure.
But it has to be, a good amount of pages where we actually have to do research and about a policy that we want to implement or change at Trinity.
And the juniors do it
And
here.
the juniors do it.
Right.
That is their big grade at the end of the year, kind of their paper that also is helping prepare them for when they get to their senior thesis, their
Right.
senior year. So we just base it off of something on Trinity. So you get a wide range of, some people want to add a hoedown, which we actually do now at Trinity. That was
Yes.
a policy
Yes.
paper. Doing something during study hall time, or even changing some sort of dress code rule, or having a rotating block schedule. So you have a plethora of options.
Right.
So for me, I wanted to do the house system because I thought it was a fun thing to do, and because I am very competitive and I love competing and I love winning.
Yes.
So that part was what helped me, and I wanted to grow as a leader, and I wanted to foster those relationships with the younger students. So I thought that was something that was going to be very beneficial for Trinity.
That's very good. So it came from your policy paper. So of course you're now the dean.
Yes.
And it was implemented the next year.
It was, yeah, full
Yeah.
circle moment too this last couple years when I became the dean. But yes, it was implemented the next year, and so during the end of the junior year, or maybe kind of in the summer, we did our interviews. So if you wanted to
Sure.
be captain, I was selected, and then
Off
it
we
took
went.
off. Yes, we got to be very involved in that first year of what it looked like, what was decided amongst the events, and how did we adapt it into the house system.
Sure.
And then it's changed drastically since I was a senior, but it's
Yes,
for the better, definitely.
I was going to ask you, what have you seen the developments? Certainly you were gone a few years while you were doing your college work, but what are some of the changes you've seen? I'm assuming all beneficial.
Yes.
As it's grown. What are some?
So we do pretty much everything in the school hours.
Yeah.
So the first year, we did some different competitions where it actually, you had to do it on a Saturday on your own time and organize it. So a photo scavenger hunt was one of the things that I remember. As the captain, I had to we coordinated parent rides to go all over Santa Clarita
Wow.
to get those pictures. And even one of the stops was, we actually went to Burbank to go get pictures with police officers because I had a connection there.
Wow.
And those were actually really good pictures.
That's a
but
serious scavenge. Huh?
yes,
Yeah.
and I am very intense. If
Really?
you probably asked, I probably was more of like a tyrant captain, in all honesty, which I have worked on as the dean. I tell them to delegate, to, include everybody. It's not always about winning, yet I was not like that as a captain. So,
Sure.
you had to grow a little bit. But I organized it. I made sure we had max participation to actually get there because I wanted to win. That was my
Wow.
drive. And so we did some of those kind of events that were outside of school hours. And obviously we did Powder Puff. That was
Sure.
house points, which we still do. But now everything's is in the school hours, and we are more intentional during our study hall time. I honestly don't remember what study hall was like the first year with house system, but we now use study hall, which I think is great to get our
Sure.
to-do list done, to do the prep work, to meet with the people that we need to meet. I actually like that how Buddies is now set up. So Buddies is
Yes,
where
Buddies.
our grammar school students are paired up with upper school students, and so they get to
It's like
foster
one-on-one, two-on-one, depending on
yeah,
the numbers.
depending
Right.
on those numbers. So that's another way we foster the relationship, which, side note, I also started at Trinity.
Yes. Wow.
Yes,
Go
I
Kaeli.
did bring that over too. So, but that had been, we just kept following the grade. So now it's set up to where each house is with the grade all the time.
Certain grade,
So like
yes.
Cincinnatus was second grade, Dante is with fifth grade, Patrick fourth, and Boethius third. Sorry, I went out of order because that's, my brain just remembered whoever I could remember
That's
first.
fantastic.
So they now just stay with the grade, which I think is actually awesome because
Very
you get
good.
to create the relationships with different buddies, and different
Sure.
every year you're with a new buddy and you get to foster new relationships
And the
with
grammar students just love it. They adore the upper school, older kids. It gets an early exposure to mentoring, which again comes about through the house system,
Yes.
upperclassmen to lowerclassmen. So very good. Well, I think we've talked about most of the benefits. Can you think of any others before we move on? Got the mentoring thing.
The
That's
mentoring,
awesome.
fostering
Plugging
relationships.
in, and Buddies is great.
Buddies, yeah.
Buddies is fantastic.
The healthy competition,
Yeah.
it kind of also, the excitement that goes into it. And another benefit is actually our leadership training that we go through.
yes.
So we try to foster a lot of leaders throughout the entire house system. So we have sophomore lieutenants, junior lieutenants, and our captains. So they get 3 years to be a leader.
That's
and we
fabulous.
try to build those leaders through the official titles and then actually the unofficial titles. So
Right.
we've started having wall committees. So in the hallways, we actually have a wall for each house that they get to decorate and put announcements on. And so a lot of the houses have found people who are not just their leadership team, but outside of leadership in their house to, like the
Right.
artistic people. That's
Sure.
their place to shine. So we do try to find other leaders in different areas
Based on
to
their
help with
giftedness
the
and talents.
yes,
Yeah, that's fabulous.
to just reach everybody. So we definitely do try to foster those leaders. And then even with our actual leadership team, we do retreats and we talk about what does it mean to be a leader? How do you lead well? And how can you serve your house? Because being a leader is also serving.
Sure.
And we base that off of Jesus, who is the
servant
ultimate
leadership
leader.
model.
Yes. And he was a servant. He served his community. He served those around him. He washed the feet of his disciples. Most of the people think leaders don't do that. People are serving them, and it's
Yes.
really the other way around. So helping them see that and teach them how to do that
Right.
in the realm of the house system that hopefully they will then take with them for the rest of their life.
Yes, and even those who are not officially sophomore or junior lieutenants or senior captains, they still see it being modeled, and it bleeds out into the whole community. And I think they take that with them beyond Trinity, and that's wonderful. So, Kaeli, let's talk about some of the competitions, because I think those are fascinating. I think people would love to hear about that.
Yes. So we start the year off right away with what we call our spiritual emphasis camp. And this is a time where students get to connect with God, grow in their faith, and then actually grow with the house system. They learn
Yes.
what house they're in with a huge initiation. That's their first introduction to, I'm in this house and it's messy and chaos, but it's so much fun.
Yes.
And we do our Olympics. So they are competing that whole week amongst each other to get participation, to get that buy-in of grabbing those freshmen and saying, this is your house. We want you to own it because we own you
Yes.
in our house. Sorry, like, we are excited that you are in our house.
Of course, of course.
Sorry,
Yes.
when I said it, I was like, oh, that could go a couple ways.
Yeah, right. Yes, of course.
But taking that pride of being
Yes.
Boethius, Cincinnatus, Dante, Patrick. So that's their first big week of being in their house.
Right.
Then we do everybody's favorite powder puff. So the girls are playing flag football. The boys are the cheerleaders. That's always a favorite.
It is.
So they go crazy and all out for it. And then we also have talent night, which is our talent night that we actually have a variety of acts that they get to audition for. But then part of it is we have every house has to perform in the talent night, and that is also part for points. And we have
Sure.
judges that judge the talents. And then our third big competition is Trinity Testudo, which is a bunch of questions that are for each grade, each subject throughout
So
the
these
whole
are the
year.
academic questions.
The
and
academic.
Thunder Turtle,
Yes,
by the way,
our Thunder
folks, is
Turtle.
what that
Yes.
is. Yes.
So those are our three big events, which spread out amongst all the different type of personalities that you can have in your house. You've got Powder Puff, which is our athletic one. So
Sure.
those students that are very athletic get to really shine, and that's as a former athlete,
Yes.
definitely was one of my favorites because I loved being able to play flag football.
Sure.
Talent night, so those who are more in the fine arts, who love to act, who love to sing and perform and dance, that's where definitely their time, they get to shine a lot in that moment. And then Trinity Testudo is definitely our academic one.
Right.
So those who are just gifted in remembering all of the information they've gathered through the year, that is one of their times as well.
Yes, indeed.
And then throughout the year, we have sprinkled every month our spirit days, which are always crazy and fun, and where
Yes.
you get to dress up to whatever the theme is. So we've had Disney, we've had cardboard and duct tape day, we've had crazy hair day, so many different kinds
Sure.
of themes, and so you get to go all out for those, and it's great to see which students will step out of their comfort zone. It's a way to
Yes.
kind of get them out of their comfort zone to have fun.
You bet.
And then we also have quarterly games, so those games range from my personal favorite as a teacher is watching Dizzy Tic-Tac-Toe.
Yes.
So they're getting dizzy
Love
before
Dizzy
they play
Tic-Tac-Toe.
Tic-Tac-Toe. Yes.
All the teachers do.
So many
Yes.
students fall, and it's a lot of fun to
It
watch.
is. It's great.
We have the dodgeball. We have we also what are they? I mean, we have so many. Sorry, it's so many
Sure,
that
of
I just
course.
can't even think
Well,
of them.
even
But
Mario Brothers or,
oh yeah,
or
Mario Kart.
Race. Yeah, Mario
so
Kart. Yes.
That's a new one that we started last year,
Yes.
and it was a hit. They all loved it, and
Huge
so
hit. It's one of the loudest experiences
yes.
of all the competitions
And you
because
can
it's
easily-
indoors and everyone's screaming.
Oh, yes. And you
Yes.
can easily tell which house has taken the lead because that house just all of a sudden gets super loud when their
Yes,
person's in
yes.
first place. And you're like, okay, so Boethius is now in first. Oh, no, it's switched to Dante.
Yeah.
Oh, Boethius again. Oh, Cincinnatus. Oh, no. And they-
Right, yes.
They get very excited.
That's great. That's fabulous. So the house system overall, we've talked about the fun of it and of course, the important, serious aspects of leadership and mentorship and blending in. What are some observations about the overall forming of students? How does it form the students as they're going from freshmen all the way up through graduation? The house system is definitely having an effect upon them. How is it forming them?
So we always hope that it's going to form our students who care about something more than themselves. That's always our hope, is to get them to really care about something. And we want them to grow in caring about the school community. And that's always our hope with the house system, is that's what we're forming our students to become.
Indeed. Well, yeah, because I think one of the important things that happens in classical Christian education is that it's not about you, it's about something bigger than you. You're a servant to God. The Greek word is doulos, which is actually slave. But when you're a slave to him, that's when you're truly free. And I think this is one way of getting a taste of something bigger than yourself. And I think it does a great job of that. And you talk about how it changes what they care about. And it's overall, especially at this age, changing what they care about from themselves to others to something bigger. That's a fantastic thing. How have you seen them challenged and rising to meet the challenges?
So there's definitely been some students, actually I can think of one captain that I have who was kind of the stick in the mud freshman year and has now grown to who's a captain now.
Wow.
He shines and just is one
Fabulous.
Is just a fabulous leader now. He's bought in, and it's because we try to grab as many students as we can for them to buy into that house system, so that way then they start seeing the benefits of the entire classical education as a whole. And so by doing all of the things that we do with the house system, fostering it, we've seen a lot of students grow to love everything about Trinity.
Sure.
And that's always a challenge at no matter what school, is to get the buy-in, to get those sticks in the mud. And
Sure.
we've definitely have those students who have come out of the mud and are now wanting to grab those people and
Yes.
show this is a great place to be. Buy-in. And you will get, whatever you put in, you're going to get more out of it. So put as much as you can into what you are involved in to get all the benefits
Great
of it.
lesson. Fantastic lesson. And so if I'm a parent out there, I've got a student who's getting ready to become a freshman next year. Maybe I have some, they're getting ready to end up with their first freshman year. Parents probably have some interesting questions, but what might be some questions you would suggest that parents would ask their students about the house system?
Mm-hmm. So I would definitely have them ask about the events. What events are coming up? And then you can talk about what's going on, what they want to do to be a part of it. How can they be a part of that event?
Good.
Ask who their captains are. Who are their lieutenants? Do they know who the leadership is? Do they know the meaning behind their house? Who is their patron? What is their patron known for? What's their mascot? Ask them all the just questions about their specific house.
Great.
So that way they can, that helps them take ownership of, I know who my house is. I
Sure.
know my patron. I know my mascot. We're going to rally behind those ideas. And then grammar school buddies, ask them who is their buddies. That's always sometimes a struggle, is sometimes our upper school students don't fully buy into it.
Of course.
Or they might forget. And so by talking to them about the buddy
That's
day
great.
is a great way to help keep them like, get them excited about buddies and to be engaged and also to remember who their buddies are.
Sure.
That is, it definitely helps when parents are engaged in that too and asking them those questions. How are you connected in your house? I think a great question actually for the upperclassmen, the juniors and seniors, is parents asking them, who have you connected with that's an underclassman? Who are you mentoring that's a freshman or a sophomore? And have those conversations of, this is your time to mentor those kids and to build that meaningful relationship.
Yes.
And then, for parents too, helping them take that ownership and walking them through how to put in what they can so that they can get a lot out of it.
That's
and
great.
I know a lot of times with initiations, sometimes students go home and they're bummed about what house they're in because they're not in a house with their best friend, or they wanted to be in this house but they got placed in this one instead. And to help your students figure out how to, go through those emotions of the disappointment,
Sure.
but then how can they get out of the disappointment? How can they be excited about being in their house? Helping them go through that and show them it's okay that you're not in the house that you want to be, because now you're in this house for the next 4 years. So what are you going to do about it? How are you going to make this the best possible situation so that way you enjoy your next 4 years?
That's great. I think it's very helpful advice. Parents, I hope you're hearing that. Think about what the house system, how it benefits the students, and ask questions in that direction. And I think that's great. Kaeli, thank you so much for the policy paper.
You're welcome.
For making this happen here at Trinity. I hope many, many classical Christian schools are starting to follow this model. I think they are.
I've actually this year had a couple schools reach out to me asking about our house system since we've had it for over 10 years now, wanting to know what do we do, what are the benefits and everything. So there are definitely schools out there that are starting, and it's actually very honoring that they're reaching out to us trying to learn from what we do.
Sure, that's fantastic. Well, thank you again for running the house system here. Thank you for being our guest tonight. And really, I think it's encouraging to parents to hear about this and all the benefits. And parents, hopefully you've been stimulated to get involved. Thank you for being with us, Kaeli.
Yeah, thank you.
And thanks to all of you for joining us here on the Classical Academy podcast, presented by Trinity U, a service of Trinity Classical Academy right here in Santa Clarita, California. Our producer is Shay Ramquist. Stephen Petrie is our audio engineer, provides our original music that you hear coming up right now. So until next time, let's all continue to grow in wisdom, in virtue, in love of our house system, and in love of God. Till next time.